loan office sales training with the mortgage calculator. We'll wait a minute here to get started. Let us go live on all the different platforms. Today we're going to be talking about utilizing AI in a few different ways. I'll put the chat up on the screen here. Feel free to drop a comment here as you tune in the chat. We'll get started in just a moment. Remember, we do this at 12 p.m. Eastern time every weekday, where we go through a new sales training topic, talking about more of the front end of doing mortgages and drumming up sales and talking to leads and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to the back end, which we do a lot of trainings on at other times. But today we're going to be talking about utilizing AI when it comes to loans and mortgages and selling loans and mortgages on the front end. So it looks like we are live on all the platforms, so we can go ahead and get it started here. All right, I'm going to take the chat off the screen, but feel free to keep dropping comments there in the chat and drop any questions that you have as well. All right. So welcome everyone. My name is Kyle Hershey. I'm the COO of the Mortgage Calculator, and this is our loan officer sales training. Today we're going to be talking about utilizing artificial intelligence when it comes to mortgages. Now, we also have a training on this on our YouTube channel already, where Nick, our president, goes through the ins and outs of using it a little bit more in depth as far as using it for even the back end type stuff. But today we're going to be talking about a lot of the front end when it comes to utilizing artificial intelligence. Now, keep in mind that at the Mortgage Calculator, we have our own artificial intelligence, right, which is called Calvin. And Calvin can help you with a lot of things that a normal AI, just normal chat GPT, right? Calvin can help you with a lot of things that the regular chat GPT wouldn't necessarily be able to help you with, because Calvin is artificial intelligence and chat GPT layered with a lot of the stuff at the Mortgage Calculator and programmed into our system at the Mortgage Calculator, right? So first, let's talk about Calvin, okay? Here at the Mortgage Calculator. Calvin is perfect. You all know that he's not perfect. I mean, he's a great resource. The AI is definitely not perfect, which, as those of you who use it may know, there's all kinds of things that are not perfect with AI. That's why we always want to check things ourselves as well, right? But Calvin is a great resource to use when you need help with a lot of things. And in the top right-hand corner of your CRM, for those of us at the Mortgage Calculator, you know that Calvin is always there, just one click away. So what can Calvin help you out with? Well, general questions, right? Of course, ChatGPT could help you with general questions, but ChatGPT does not have all of the Mortgage Calculator guidelines and policies and trainings and all that kind of stuff loaded into it, right? So Calvin can help you with general questions, also crafting emails for you. So that's what's cool about some of the AI that we implemented here, that Calvin can literally, with the click of a button, he can craft the email for you. He's going to look at everything that's been going on between you and the client, and you're going to click send, create email. Instead of sending an email, you can have Calvin create the email for you, and he will type it up and come up with all of the info. And of course, again, you're going to double check it, right? Because AI is never perfect. So you're always going to check it before you send it, but it's nice to be able to have the system create the email for you already. Also, Calvin can run the dual auth for you. So dual automated underwriting, it can run DO and LP at the same time. And then Calvin analyzes both of those and is going to tell you which one is better to use for that borrower scenario, right? So Calvin can do all kinds of cool stuff. Those of you who have used these systems extensively know that, Calvin can do a lot more as well. Today, I want to really talk about Coach Calvin, right? So in the top right-hand corner of your CRM at the Mortgage Calculator, you have your regular Calvin, and then you have Coach Calvin. So Coach Calvin is a version of the AI with the more so sales end of things, like we're talking about here today. So Coach Calvin can set up your social media plan. And matter of fact, he already emails all of our loan officers every week with a plan for their social media. What should they post and when should they post it on what platform? So that's pretty cool. You all already are getting an email from Calvin prompting you to set up your social media plan for that week. What should you post? When should you post it? And where should you post it? And you can also go in and have him create a custom plan for you at any time. So pull up Coach Calvin, say, make a social media plan for me for this week. I'd like to focus on, refinances this week or DSCR loans this week. And he will map out an entire week schedule for you to post this at this time with this writing, and all that kind of stuff on each day. So definitely use Coach Calvin. We're prompting him already to provide you with a social media plan for each week, but feel free to go in there and create your own, right? It takes 2 seconds to type in, create a social media plan for me this week for DSCR loans. Boom. And he's going to give you all the information. So that is definitely a great resource to use. Also, daily motivation. You can ask Coach Calvin for some motivation, right? Coach Calvin has all of the motivational speakers, quotes, and trainings, and all that kind of stuff. So he also has some juice there to get you motivated, some quotes, some inspiration, and all that kind of stuff. So I would definitely go and type in some motivation for today, or maybe you need motivations for a specific situation or inspiration for a specific situation, and he has all that kind of stuff that he could give out to you. And also marketing ideas. You can ask Coach Calvin anything about sales and marketing. That's why, even though we have a training on utilizing artificial intelligence in mortgages already, that's why I wanted to do this sales training with it, because Coach Calvin particularly, you can talk to Coach Calvin all day about marketing ideas. What's a good marketing idea to do for this? I'm looking to get out there and do more of these type of loans. What are some marketing ideas for it? What can I do? How should I do it? I mean, the possibilities are endless there of you talking back and forth to Coach Calvin, and having him set you up with some plans of action and some ideas, and be able to actually lay you out some things that you can use on the sales end of everything. So Coach Calvin is definitely big for the sales end of things. That's what he was made for. And so you definitely want to utilize Coach Calvin on the sales end of things. Now, the regular Calvin, of course, a little bit more of the back end, right? Your questions. We have Calvin for compliance, right? So you can ask Calvin compliance questions. You can have the regular Calvin run your dual auths and analyze and stuff. That's a little bit more on the back end, right? But when it comes to Coach Calvin, now we're talking about setting up your marketing plans, your social media plans, your daily motivation, your marketing ideas, all that kind of stuff. Ideas for advertisements, right? So, if you're wanting to run ads, how do you run ads here? What should I do here? What would be a good ad to post for this? What's the best time for me to post this on my social media page? I mean, the possibilities are endless there when you're talking to Coach Calvin. So the Mortgage Calculator, Calvin is awesome. Calvin is not only Chat GPT, but also layered with our brains on top of that, and programmed not only with all of our guidelines and policies and trainings and all that kind of stuff, but also integrated into our CRM and actually programmed to do XYZ when we tell it to do XYZ, right? But now let's talk about just regular Chat GPT, which is what everybody's used to. When you say artificial intelligence, that's what everyone is used to. So although we give you these customized versions through our system that are customized for loan officers at the Mortgage Calculator and all integrated into our system, you could still use regular old Chat GPT for all kinds of stuff, and anybody that is not at the Mortgage Calculator can use it. And so let's talk about just regular Chat GPT. Well, I tell you what, I like using ChatGPT for ideas, just sparking ideas. And where really I copied this from, I got this from, was from Gary Vee. I'm sure a lot of you know who Gary Vee is, right? The motivational speaker, media tycoon, whatever you would want to call him. And that's what he was saying he uses it for. And I started using it for that as well, just to get any ideas going. You're thinking of anything, just type it in and just spark some ideas. You don't have to use anything. You don't have to like create a presentation with those ideas necessarily or anything, but just to get ideas flowing and some stuff going whenever you're thinking about anything, right? And also creating presentations, right? So like I didn't create this one with ChatGPT, but I could have, right? ChatGPT will create entire presentations for you, all of the different slides and all that kind of stuff, right? With just the entering one sentence in there, it'll create an entire, 40 slide presentation for you to do, right? So if you are looking to do maybe a first time home buyer's presentation, right? Something like that. That's actually something that Calvin could help you with as well for those at the Mortgage Calculator, because he has all the info about the programs that we have specifically. But any ChatGPT, of course, create presentations, right? Get insights to share, right? So there's, any insights you would like to share with clients about the market or how things work or whatever it may be, you can ask ChatGPT. And of course, again, you need to make sure to look over all of this stuff. If it creates a presentation for you, you need to look it over. It has to have human eyes. Unfortunately, artificial intelligence is not at the point yet where it's intelligent enough to have no errors, where it's intelligent enough to know exactly what you want it to do at all times. It's not a perfect technology, right? And so not only is it not perfect and it doesn't always hit exactly how you want it to hit on, there's also ghosts in the machine, right? Or whatever it is people want to call it, where sometimes it goes haywire. And so anything we do with artificial intelligence is going to be something that we need to look over with human eyes before we actually do anything with it. And that's why I like to use it a lot, just to spark ideas, not necessarily do something, but to just get ideas going, right? Because when you have it do something, you need to make sure that you understand. You need to go over it in depth, especially like creating a presentation, right? If you say create a 20-slide presentation on utilizing artificial intelligence in the mortgage business, right? It'll do it, but you're going to need to make sure to look over every single slide. There's going to be some things that don't make sense. There's going to be some times it might go haywire and you just go, wait a minute, that slide wasn't even real, right? That was some weird thing that it created. So we got to keep that in mind, that AI is not even close to perfect. Writing articles for blogs. This is one of the best things you could use it for. And again, if you're at the Mortgage Calculator, you can use Coach Calvin for this as well. But writing articles for blogs, right? Whether you're actually have a real, quote unquote blog, or it's just essentially writing copy for your social media posts when, basically a long Facebook post or whatever it is that you're doing. You can use it to write articles, get some good keywords going, get some good articles going. So you can use it really for whatever you want. Just make sure that you have your human eye go over it before you start actually using it, right? So be sure to utilize it as much as you can. Now, one of the other cool things about AI that I like is there's also AI image generators, right? Which is really cool. So I like this company called Leonardo.ai. And there's also a bunch of other ones where you can just tell it, I want to create an image, create an image for my blog post that has a home that's talking about mortgages or whatever. I want it to be a blue house with whatever, and it'll create an actual image that you can actually use. Most of them you might pay a couple bucks licensing fee or whatever, $10 a month, and then you can use any of the stuff that you create commercially or whatever. So But I love Leonardo AI. Actually, me and my I mess around with it with my sons. They say like, "Oh, I want to create a picture with me in it and cars in the background and stuff," and they can just tell it to do what they want, and it does what they want. It creates all these different pictures and cartoons and stuff like that. So Leonardo AI, I really like. It's really cool. And is technically artificial intelligence. And again, it's something where you could combine using, Chat GPT or Calvin to create articles, create posts, and then you could use Leonardo or some equivalent to it to create the graphics for those posts. And it's as easy as typing in a sentence, "I want a picture of a blue house with a couple standing in front of it holding a key to the house." Boom, and it'll do that image for you. It's a great image. It looks cool, and you can use it as long as you're on the right plan or whatever. And so that's definitely something cool as well. Not just getting the words from things like ChatGPT or Calvin, but also getting images from any of these AI, image creating software. It's really cool. If you haven't used any of those yet, I definitely suggest you do. And like I said, I literally just have fun with my kids doing it, right? They're always like, "Hey, let's pull up the computer and do the AI pictures," right? Because they can just type in what they want it to do and it does it. And that is pretty cool. So when you're doing things as a professional, it's really cool too, because when you're doing a blog post about XYZ, you need a picture of XYZ, and you also need to make sure that you can use the picture of XYZ. I've talked about this in the past. You cannot use people's photos without permission. We, meaning me and Nick, not this company, but some of our other companies, one of our other companies, we were sued for using somebody's picture. Now, we paid a graphic designer to design something for us, but that graphic designer used a picture for the background that he did not own. And so what happened is we ended up getting sued because we used it, because we paid this designer for it, and we did not know that they didn't own the picture that they used as the background. And we had to end up paying money and settling the lawsuit because it's statutory. You can't get out of it, right? If you use somebody's image that's copyrighted, which everybody's image is copyrighted as soon as they take the picture, right? Then you automatically have to pay. There is no getting out of it, right? It is statutory copyright damages. So the only option is to try to settle to speed up the process. So my point here is you don't want to be in that position where you're using people's photos without their permission and posting them, even just on social media. We didn't sell this picture. All it was something that we posted on our website and our social media, happened to have some other person's picture in the background. Even though we paid that graphic designer, we still had to pay the person who took the photo, pay the attorney's fees and stuff. So it's not a good look. Something you want to make sure that you do. Things like Canva are good, because Canva, when you pay Canva, you pay for the license of the images to use. So when you're designing graphics in Canva for the backgrounds and stuff like that, you already have permission to use those pictures, which is one of the best parts about graphic programs like Canva, is not only can you use it to design things, but you have permission to use the photos and stuff that are in that program. And it'll go the same way as well with the AI platforms like Leonardo, where at the end of the day, there's, I don't know, I think it's like $10 a month or something, and you're actually allowed to use the images, right? And so you want to make sure any images you're using, you're either doing it through places like Canva, which are allowing you to license the photo, or things like Leonardo AI, and make sure that you're on the plan that allows you to use the photo to essentially license it. So anyhow, that's a great tool as well. So just to kind of go back and recap here, ChatGPT, some just general ideas here, but at the Mortgage Calculator, what's so cool, we've invested a lot of time and money into building out our Calvin helpers for you, where Calvin, again, not only has ChatGPT and everything that was ever on the internet, everything that's ever been on the internet up to 2021, I believe it is, but he also has all of our company trainings and guidelines and loan programs and all that kind of stuff. So Calvin is ChatGPT ×2 customized for you at the Mortgage Calculator, right? So You can ask Calvin general questions. And then I do see a question here saying, does Calvin help with generating emails for clients or follow-ups? Yeah, absolutely. So when you open up a contact in the CRM, there's a button to either send them an email, send them a text, or have Calvin, the Calvin Assist, press that button, and Calvin will create an email to send them. Now, if you are looking to put somebody on an automated follow-up plan, then you would just choose an action plan, right? We already have those, the automated drip campaigns that are going to text them and email them for you over time and all that kind of stuff. We already have that, right? But when we're talking about having Calvin, the AI, helped you craft an email, we're talking about having him craft an email that's in the conversation, right? So just regular follow-ups, that's easy. Put them on an action plan. The system's going to automatically follow up with them with emails and texts and all that kind of stuff. But what we're talking about with Calvin assisting you is just clicking a button and having him actually respond in the conversation, right? You were talking to this client, you say something to them, they say something back to you, and then you click Calvin assist so that the next thing you say back to them, Calvin actually types it all up for you. And again, you have to read it though, right? You can't just press Calvin assist and then, press send, right? So Calvin will do an actual email based on the conversation that you and the client are having. But at the end of the day, you always need to read over it before you press send. So make sure to use Calvin for those things. Of course, he's already built in to be able to run the dual OS for you. And when you run dual OS with Calvin, he is going to analyze it automatically and tell you which one is better. But again, my big thing with this training here is wanting to make sure that everybody knows and understands how to use the Coach Calvin. Top right-hand corner of your CRM, the Calvin AI button, there's a drop down there that has Coach Calvin, and Coach Calvin can be used for all kinds of things. Setting up your social media plans, giving you some daily motivation, some inspiration, some marketing ideas. And again, too, just like, you can ask it anything, thousands of questions, unlimited, right? So don't think that you have to really plan all this out and know exactly what to ask it. Just ask it things, right? And so Coach Calvin, again, marketing ideas. You could literally just type in, what are some marketing ideas for a beginner in mortgages? Right? Something like that. And it'll start giving you ideas. Let that idea, spark something. Then maybe you want to take it further. And maybe it says, this would be a great marketing idea. Then you might want to ask it, okay, how would I implement that marketing idea over the next week? Or how would I implement that marketing idea on my social media? Or what would be the best way to contact my sphere and utilize that marketing plan or marketing idea, right? So don't just stop at, getting ideas. You can take those ideas, bring them further. What if one of the marketing ideas is to have a home ownership seminar? Then ask it, can you create a presentation to show at my homeowner seminar, right? So you can utilize Coach Calvin for a lot of things. That would be the main takeaway that I want people to take away here from today is use Calvin in our system at the Mortgage Calculator, but also use Coach Calvin on a daily basis. Get in there and get some motivation ideas, some inspiration, and get some marketing ideas, and then ask how you can execute those marketing ideas and just get some things flowing and get some things going. So I would pull up Coach Calvin every morning and interact with it. Every day, I would make that a habit to interact with Coach Calvin every day, talk about your social media plan, talk about some motivation, some inspiration, talk about some different marketing ideas, anything that's on the front end, the sales end, all the stuff we talk about on these sales trainings, that's what Calvin is, that's what Coach Calvin is all built on and built to help with. And by the way, Coach Calvin has every one of our sales trainings. So Coach Calvin knows every single thing that I've ever said and I've ever taught you on these sales trainings, as well as all of our other trainings, right? So Coach Calvin has all the juice inside of him, and he can tell you what you need to know. Not only does he know all kinds of other stuff, but he also knows all of our trainings and everything as well. So definitely utilize Coach Calvin. All right. I don't see any other questions, so I think we can wrap it up. Remember, 12 p.m. Eastern, we do this every weekday where we go through the front end and sales end of the mortgages. I really hope everybody takes it to heart here and utilizes Calvin, but also utilizes Coach Calvin more than you have already been doing. That would be great, and I guarantee it will help you in your daily work, especially for as motivation and inspiration and marketing and just getting some ideas to get out there and get going. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of the Loan Officer Sales Training with the Mortgage Calculator.